We're going to talk a little bit about consistency when it comes to marketing and branding your business. Whether you have a website or whether you have a service or whether you're the best wellness coach out there or whether you're running an e-commerce store, consistency is super key. And a lot of people subconsciously will make decisions by things that they observe as they witness how consistent you are with your brand. It shows people that you're passionate, you're enthusiastic. Nobody wants to work with somebody that's in one day and out the next, right? If they're gonna invest money and they're gonna hire a coach or they're gonna hire a business or somebody for a service, they wanna know that they're getting the best for their value, right? So consistency is super key. When it comes to content and consistency, it's important to have activity. Activity is doing something and then doing it over and over and over and being excited about what it is that you're doing. They say, like, if you set yourself on fire, the whole world will come to see you burn. This is about you being passionate about what you do and celebrating it, right? When I talk about content, I always talk to people about farming. I think it's a really good analogy with farming. If you were to get a sunflower seed, usually you would plant the seed, you cover it with soil, you give it some water, some light, and you would let it grow, right? You wouldn't jump up and down and kill the seed because it didn't grow within the first 10 seconds. Content on Google works very similar to farming. So on Google, if this was the Google field and you plant these seeds, initially on Google, it's gonna look like nothing's happening. In the first 2 months, you might be like, oh my gosh, I did this content, I wrote this blog, I did social media, we put up articles, we hired an SEO agency, we're doing all these different things for our company. How come nothing's happening? What happens is, as these start to grow roots and go down into the Google search engine, it doesn't look like anything's happening because your eyes are right here and they see what's on the surface, right? They're not seeing what's happening below the ground right here, just like farming, right? And then what happens is a couple months in, there starts to be some little sprouts. It doesn't really look like much is happening on Google, just like farming, but there's a lot happening down here as the search engine and the algorithm start crawling through your content. And typically what we see when people put content out online is that if they consistently keep doing it, what happens is things start to grow. And they start to grow more aggressively. This could happen 3 to 6 months in, depending on the market that you're in. If the vertical's super competitive and there's people that are doing lots of content, then you've got to raise yourself up to the standards and create a lot of content as well. And what's so important about this is being consistent, because what most people do with Google is they don't see anything happening and they let fear set in and they get worried and they go, oh my gosh, I spent all this time, I created these podcasts, I created this content, I'm building backlinks, but I'm not seeing anything happening. So they look at just what they see, and then usually instead of keeping your focus on creating that new content, they put their eyes in another direction and they look somewhere else. So they completely distract themselves from doing that which was going to get them much further if they just kept their focus. It's kind of like a magnifying glass. If you were to take a magnifying glass with the sun, as the sun comes through the magnifying glass, and if you keep it still, it starts to burn a hole in a leaf from the sun being focused. But if you keep moving the magnifying glass, nothing's going to happen at all. And so what happens with people is they get distracted as the fear sets into their mind. They don't think anything's happening. You've just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, even when you think nothing's happening. And then eventually what happens is you get beautiful flowers and they just keep growing because you've planted so many seeds. For example, we had a client that was working with us and they actually had a nonprofit. They had a 501c3, which was educational, and they wanted to reach all these people. So in the first 90 days, we had writers write 200 articles. These were on site, and they were about 1,000 words a piece. So that's 200,000 words. And those are now on Google. For that same client, we put up 700 audio podcasts on 15 different platforms. That is 10,000 links. We also did Facebook ads because we wanted to reach some of the right demographics, so we ran some ads on Facebook. And in 90 days, we acquired 30,000 emails. We also, for that client, we actually applied for a Google grant, which if you have a 501c3 or you're thinking about starting one, we actually applied for a Google grant and we got them a $100,000 grant for the year. It's somewhere around $8,000 or $9,000 a month in free ads. For that client, we had about 13 people that were working on this campaign. The other thing we did was we created a bunch of images and memes. So we would create somewhere around 20 to 25 different images per week. And in addition to that, we did another probably 60 to 80 articles offsite. And we probably built 20,000 more links on Google. So if you look at the metrics of like planting all these seeds, we just kept doing and doing and doing and doing and doing. And this client, within 90 days, their traffic went up over 700%, and their subscribers on YouTube went from 6,000 to 13,000 in 90 days because we were cross-promoting to all the channels where we were creating content. Now, on top of all this stuff, there was probably another 200 things that happened for this client that they didn't expect. They had influencers that had millions of people that followed them, that reached out to them. We ended up actually getting an interview with somebody that had, I think it was somewhere around 3 million views on their YouTube video within 9 months. We interviewed that person because when that person looked at all the channels and everything that was going on with this client, they felt trust and they said, oh my gosh, like I'm looking at all the stuff you guys are doing consistently. I'm gonna do an interview with you. And then that person reshared that stuff on that person's YouTube channel, which a lot of their videos have gone viral. We also set up Google alerts and we found different people within the same vertical that we could reach out to. On top of that, because of the growth and the consistency, we actually built relationships with 10 other websites. And these websites had between 10 to 50,000 visitors per month. So if there are 20,000 visitors a month times 10 websites, that's 200,000 people a month in traffic. Because of the consistency of our content and what we were doing on a regular basis, these websites were excited to work with us. In fact, we would send them content every single week, and the websites that had this traffic, now they would go over to this client's website because we were contributing content on a regular basis. And this has to do with the psychology of the fact that if you do something consistent, They also saw passion. And they were excited. They were excited to work with us because of where we were going, not where we were, based on the metrics and the consistency. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is this happens to me all the time. I interview people that are experts in their field. I reach out to them to interview them. Many times I want to talk to those people. When I reach out to them, there's a couple questions they ask me. The first question is, what's your website? I want to check out your website before I waste my time and pick up the phone and call you or even do any kind of conversation. So they look at the website. The other thing people do is they go to Google. And there's a search bar on Google. Even a 10-year-old knows how to get answers on Google. So now we're trained to Google educate ourselves, and we put in the name of the business. And then when we get the name of the business and we search it besides the website, we start to look at different things. We start to look at reviews. We go, wait, they have a Facebook. Let's check out their Facebook and see what they're doing and what they're about. You know, they may have told me one thing, but let me see what Google says about them. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist when you're talking to somebody and evaluating how valuable your time is worth, whether or not you actually want to invest more time with somebody based on what you find on somebody on Google. If they have bad reviews, that's not a good sign. So you start to make decisions based on looking at Google many times before you even talk to anybody or before you meet with them. I know a lot of people that I meet with, I ask them, hey, did you Google me? And you know, I tell people to Google me, right? So you want to make sure that you have your content set up in a way that builds trust. The biggest thing I tell like small to medium-sized business owners is people get into business to make money. But many people operate their business from a cheap mentality. And I gotta tell you that cheap is the most expensive mindset that you can have, because you don't even know what it costs you to be cheap, right? If someone comes to your website and it looks like a haunted house and it looks like it hasn't been updated, you're gonna repel people from actually wanting to work with you. So you should always look at how your impression on Google makes other people feel the content. When it really comes down to it, where we're making decisions, subconsciously, you're always looking at the little clues along the way. You're looking to see, do they have content? Is their website nice? Do they have information about themselves? Who is this person? Are other people talking about this person? You know, if you're gonna spend money anywhere between $1 to, you know, whatever kind of money you're gonna spend, maybe you're gonna spend $200,000 with somebody. It's gonna become even more important to manage your impression on Google. I think the biggest challenge on Google is that anybody can have a website, and it's easy these days to put up a website. But part of that is having the right mentality that you're gonna build a brand that's gonna last forever, and it's gonna be an ongoing flow and a river of leads of people that are excited because they found your content, they know who you are. That's the reason why people get on Google, not to sell people, but they get on Google so people can find them. And if people can find you and they're already excited about working with you or talking with you or knowing you, then that's super key.